Okay guys, so today we have a Bentley Continental GT 2014 in for engine management light was on, so the customer popped it in so that we can have a look, see what the problem is and get down to it. So plugged in our diagnostic machine. You can see the code is P029900 turbo supercharger underboost. So I'm guessing we've got an issue with our turbocharger. We're gonna go ahead, open the bonnet and see what we can find. Now here we've got a 4-litre V8 engine here. Same engine which is also used in an Audi S8, S7, RS7, RS6. As you can probably tell from this cooler here. Now we're gonna remove the turbo pipes and see what we can find. So this cover here is held on by 3 bolts, one here, and one here. We've gone ahead and removed it. Now we're going to take out the air filter. As we can see, the air filter at the bottom is a bit oily. And there's a few signs of oil within the intake pipe as well, as we can see. Now we're going to go ahead and check the other side as well. So now we're going to move on to removing this side. So you can see this one's clear. No signs of any oil coming into the inlet pipe. Now we're going to go ahead and try to take it off as much as we can. As you can see, signs of oil travel inside the intake pipe. And shown here as well. Now we're just going to go ahead, release a few of these Jubilee clips. We'll go ahead and remove this turbo pipe and then see the core of the turbo. Okay, as you see, this turbo intake pipe is held on by 2 bolts, 2 5mm Allen keys, one here, one here. The one at the bottom is pretty difficult to get to. We've had to release it first with a flexi head and then take it off with this. Just release it slowly with this Torx screwdriver. Now we're going to show where our issue is. As we can see, the play within the turbo, which is causing the underboost. And also, as we can see, it has slightly scored on the turbo housing as well. Now we will be taking off the other side as well and checking that in comparison. So as we're going to be replacing the turbo oil screen, they call it, famous on these 4-litre TFSI V8 engines, they tend to get clogged up and give issues with the oil feed towards the turbo. So to get access to the oil filter of the turbo line, we have to remove this intake manifold, and for that we need to remove the front grille so we can get access to the bolts which are all the way down here. Now we've removed the top bolts of the grille, which you can see here, and also remove this trim here. And when removing this grille, it also has one bolt there and one bolt there. So I've got to be careful of that. Don't want to snap the grille in half. Okay, we've taken off the front grille. We've tried to take off the wing, but we will get through to that later on tomorrow. So we've removed the rest of the turbo intake. And here we've come up against a surprise. We were fooled by no oil signs, but when you look at it, this turbo is even worse than the other one. As you can see, there's way too much excessive play in comparison with this one. There's excessive play in this one as well, but in comparison this one has the more excessive between the two. Now, the issue we're guessing behind this is, as we talked about, the oil screen, turbo oil screen on these, which they tend to get clogged up, causing oil starvation at the turbos. So, and for that we're gonna have to remove this front intake, and for that we're gonna have to take off the front wings, front panel, and then get a clearer access to it. As you can see, we've had to take off the bottom bumper as well to remove the wing parking sensor. So we've had to remove the headlight. We haven't removed the wing completely. We've only just played it out the way a little bit so it can wiggle about. Take off the headlight so we can take off the panel. And once we take off the panel, we'll probably have to take off the rads as well. Everything should be more clear. Okay, so we've taken off the EGR pipes, which comes from, there's the electric pump there, along the intake manifold, goes through here, one side connects into there, another side connects into the here. Now we're taking off the breathers, unplug the two sensors here, removing the 1, 2, 3, 30 Torx bolts, and that should be ready to come out as well. Now it makes it much more easier when taking out the intake manifold. So we've managed to take off the intake manifold. It's got one bolt there, one bolt there, and one bolt there. Same on the other side. One bolt here, one bolt here, and one bolt here. And it's got one here, one here. They've broken the one previous owners. They've broken that one at the back, and this one here. So in total there are 4, 7, 10 bolts holding this intake manifold. Now it's very difficult taking this one off as the space at the front is very limited. We only released the front panel a little bit because taking it off was a whole other hassle. When taking it off, we took off one of the bolts, as you can see, which goes into here, and the one underneath we've released it a bit so we can allow some play. An intake manifold comes out as such. Now we're gonna take off this aluminium plate here. Before we do that, we'll take off these oil feed pipes. So once we take off the oil feed pipe, we can see the state of the oil screen. They're cool, famous on these 4-litre TFSI engines. As you can see, clearer view of our turbos. This one, still a bit of play, not as much. But yeah, once we open this one up, we're going to replace the oil screen, and the gasket underneath this aluminium plate. We'll be removing the turbos and taking it from there. Okay, so we've taken out the oil feed pipes from the bottom left, as you can see. Remove the coolant pipes, taking them off the turbo as well now. They're a bit seized up, so we've had to spray some WD-40 and play it side to side so we can release it nice and freely. And you can see from the stains on top of it as well, it's been leaking coolant from there. The one in the middle is the oil feed. This one is the coolant feed. This one is the coolant return.
Give me one more screwdriver.
Okay, so we've got the old turbo out, as you can see.